Hey Sagittarius, welcome to March. Right before I hit record on your video, I had that Baby Shark song stuck in my head, and I don't know why, because that is not a song I would frequently listen to. So, if that's your jam, this reading might be particularly intense for you. Anyway, okay, so we're just gonna get right into it. Where are you at right now, Baby Sharks, Sagittarius? This is real. Oh, the letter S is like super big. I know that sounds weird, and that's not what the cards say. But I think that's why they're like baby shark doot doot, because shark is like starting with an S, Sagittarius. Your power color of the month is sapphire. There's all this S energy. So I'm actually going to take a little detour from our scheduled reading and see what that's about, because that might be a very specific message for somebody. And they're like, if your name starts with S, like if it's Seraphim, which I think is the name of an angel, you might want to look that up if your name doesn't start with S, or Sarah, or Susan, or Sonia, or Stanley, or Stuart. It's particularly important that you find a way to really embrace who you are and feel a lot of love and joy for that person, like being totally confident, okay? So anyway, maybe as we do the reading that is for everyone, that'll make more sense as to why for you specifically. But somebody with an S name, maybe your name is Sapphire or Shark. I hope it's not Shark. Okay, so anyway, where you're at right now. So some things have ended, and then there's like new beginnings about to come from those things. You might not necessarily notice what those are yet, but you're hopeful. Maybe you're like laying the groundwork, starting down a new path. There's either a change in mindset or a change in like a job or a relationship, something like that. But this is all for the better, and it's going to actually make you feel a lot lighter. Kind of like just letting go of things and releasing them is going to bring a lot of joy and happiness to your life, because before you were in this place where you had to stand there and think about, oh man, is this worth it? Like, is this really the path I want to go down? This is going to be challenging, and like, do I have the strength and the energy for that? And now that's in reverse, and they're like, I don't even have to sit there and think about it because I'm too focused on having joy. Because you know what? I did the right thing even though it was hard, and I said, okay, done with that. And so now I am being rewarded for that. And so not everybody gets to feel so joyous in a Mercury retrograde, but you do, because it's like you read ahead. Like you kind of like you have your reading assignment in school, right? You have your homework and you worked ahead. Like you read all of the chapters before the teacher presented them to you in a lecture class. So you knew where you were going, and it was much easier for you now in the retrograde than it is for everybody else. So congrats. Okay, what's tainting any feelings of joy or happiness that you have right now in the month of March? And they're saying like just kind of the slowness of things, having to wait for investments that you might have made to pay off. So that could be like an actual financial investment. Maybe you just opened up a stock portfolio and you're putting away money, into a mutual fund, and it's not doing anything. And you're like, I've been putting money in here for 6 months, and it's just like the same. That might be bugging you. Or maybe you took a course or a training, and so you're waiting and waiting and waiting for this promotion to show up that you thought you were going to get because it gave you, some sort of a lead or advantage over your colleagues, and you're still just sitting there waiting. Or maybe you put a lot into a relationship, and then now you're just sitting back and waiting. But they're saying like there's really nothing that you can do right now to change that. And so, don't worry about it. Everything's going to happen in the right time in the right way. So it is what it is. Don't let that bum you out. You can choose to be upset about it, but choosing to be upset about it doesn't actually give you this magical miracle cure solution where you can do something to change the speed. You can't. It's out of your control. So, okay. What do you think is going to make you happier in the month of March? And they're saying having control, but then simultaneously, it's like kind of it's a very strange energy where it's like this optimism and youthful kind of like anything is possible energy and everything's going to be okay, but then controlling the things that you can simultaneously. It's not like, out of desperation and things I don't like, I need to completely and very meticulously control the environment and like everybody around me and like everything around me. It's not like that. It's like I am in control, And part of being in control means that I'm optimistic and trusting in the universe that everything happens in the divine right time, in the right way, for the right reason. And so they're saying, here comes a weird number message, but they're like, with any sort of disappointing 5 energy, like any sort of energy of disappointment, hardship, despair, argument, chaos, they're like, for a minute that expanded, but then only in order for you to release it and to say, okay, out with that, I'm moving to something better. And this is how you controlled the situation by way of your optimism to give you the fuel. So like, this is the weirdest analogy, and it might not even make sense because I haven't even processed it in my head yet. They're just like doing all of these like data dumps right now because I channel when I read. And so it's like, anyway. Before I go there, I just want to show you this thing covering his head is the same as your power color. And the thing covering his head is the same as your power color. So it's like the spirit world, because they pointed that out to me right now. The spirit world is like really working on healing you and giving you a lot of communication that is claircognizant. So some people like get messages through song, or they overhear specific things in other people's conversations, or, some people have visions or dreams. Some people feel a certain way in their body, and that's how they know, they're on the right path or they're not. But for you this month, it's just like you have this inherent knowing, and I would call it intuition, except for it's less human than that. It's less of like a sentient feeling of like something that you actually feel. It's just like, oh, I know this without a feeling attached to it. It's just like a data drop, like I just got in my head there. Okay, so going back to, what were they telling me? Oh, okay, so see, isn't that cool? You can ask them. You can be like, hey, what the fuck was that? And they put it right back. When it's not your thought, they can replace it very quickly. Okay, so anyway, it's hard to understand how you're simultaneously like, oh, I don't need to be in control. I am completely surrendering to the universe, knowing that it's benevolent and it's awesome and it's going to give me what I need. I trust the universe. But then also being like dominating, like, oh, I've totally got control of everything in my life. Like, how does that make sense? So here's the way that they're explaining it. They're saying that you are a car, okay? You went and you bought a car to get you somewhere, but then your faith in the universe is the fuel that moves it, okay? So you take the steps that you need to take, and then the universe propels you down the path. So it's kind of like that concept of co-creation. That would have been an easier way for them just to express that. They could have said, hey, tell them they need to co-create their futures. But they did it this way. So it is what it is. Okay. So anyway, what is it that you think will make you happy? Yeah. It is buying the car and then having faith that it'll work. Okay. Controlling what you can control and then relying on the universe for the things outside of your control. Having total faith that the decisions that you're making now are the right ones for you. Then also, they're saying that it's going to be challenging for a lot of you to show yourselves enough self-care. It's almost as though you're in this energy as you're trying to co-create things of pushing yourself a little bit too hard and maybe sacrificing. So, you might say, okay, I have this goal that I want to reach by a certain amount of time because I know after that it should be smooth sailing. So you work yourself to the bone 80 hours a week over the course of 3 weeks to achieve that, to just like kind of set things on autopilot because you know that the universe will take over and handle that for you. But what they're saying is, that's actually not the case. It's better if it takes 6 weeks and then you slow it down a little, okay? Because that's not good for you. Okay, so that kind of covers how your perception is true of what's going to work for you and then also what isn't. Okay, so what's actually going to make you the most happy in March? And they're saying that you have nothing that you need to defend yourself against at all. Like, you are very much owning who you are unapologetically. If somebody came and they attacked you, you'd be like, yeah, you're right. And I feel okay about that. I made that decision on purpose. Okay, but you called me an asshole and you're so rude. Yeah, I made that choice because you are an asshole and I don't want to talk to you, right? Or whatever the case may be. They're like, historically, this might have hurt you. It might have lowered your confidence. You might not have felt very good, but you're kind of in this energy of like full control and knowing who you are and feeling good about it. Now, some of you still have some work to do there, but for the most part, a lot of you have really developed and evolved over the recent, however long, 4 years, I think. They're saying it's different for everybody, but the average is 4 years. Over the last 4 years, a lot of Sagittarians have made big strides and become like very unapologetically who they are and very authentic. And so, not to say you weren't before, but you're so much there now, and you feel good about it. They're like, so, you know, you're simultaneously super honest, but at the same time vulnerable. And so you're naturally likable. You know, like you're not going to allow someone to sit here and attack you and attack you and attack you. But like at the same time, I mean, what is it that they say? Like turning the other cheek is maybe an expression. So it's not that when somebody hits you here, you turn the other cheek so they can hit you in the other cheek. It's more like, I just turn my ass all the way around. I'm not going to engage in this ridiculous behavior with you because that makes me look like you. That lowers me to your level, kind of a thing. So you've learned a lot and you've matured a lot and you are very authentically who you are. They say like, if there is any sort of confrontational energy for you this month, you will be able to win those battles verbally and mentally. Whereas like other people, because they're not patient and confident enough, will just lash out completely the wrong way. They're saying like, you're really cautious to not harm yourself or your argument or your own agenda, especially this month. But they go, you know what, honestly, this month is maybe not the most exciting month to deal with other people, especially people who are not, on our favorites list, but you're handling everything the right way, that justice will be served, karma will come to full fruition. And so they're saying, and like, you know that, so you're just focusing on yourself and you're focusing on doing the right thing for you at all times. And that's fantastic. So, forces outside of your control that are in favor of your happiness in March. And they're saying, so getting enough sleep and rest is going to be somewhat challenging, but when you can find it, that is going to lift your spirits massively, like more than it usually would to be well rested. It also helps you to manifest the things that you want and to attract bigger blessings than you even realized you were manifesting because your subconscious is doing it. And then even bigger than you thought you had the power to draw into your life. So that's fantastic. Maybe you wanted to get some sort of a raise, right? Or a bonus at work. You're in sales and you're shooting for, a $5,000 bonus this month. And then like you completely blow your own mind that you doubled that. Like, wouldn't that be amazing? So it's that kind of a thing. You didn't even know it was possible, but you manifested it. Now, how is your perception, what forces are outside of your control working against your happiness this month? And they go, well, people are not as loving to you as maybe they should be. Not everybody is saying or doing the right thing or acting in the most loving way, which we already know because it looked like there might have been a conflict with somebody else this month. But I mean, honestly, you're kind of going, okay, well, I'm just going to put that in my memory bank. You were an asshole this time. And then if those behaviors kind of continue, you know that this is a person you want to cut out of your life or not deal with. Basically, is you're kind of just like sitting here. I see you like a sexy librarian, right? Where you're very silently but gracefully looking cute while you do it, taking your experiences and filing them away on bookshelves. And then later you can go back and you can go, this seems pretty typical. Yep, I'm just going to throw this one out. So good for you. What's going to bring you luck this month? So as we talked about, your power color energy is sapphire. If you have a sapphire stone or necklace, if you like to wear this color, that would be good. The energy of this is and 11. So it's about getting the things that you want. And so this one says regenerating your body. And so like I said, with that whole sleep energy, like when you get enough rest, you are going to feel absolutely much more happy and much more excited and joyful on the day-to-day level. So with this one, as you're sleeping, you know, our angels, our spirit guides, whatever, they work on us and they kind of cleanse our energy and they recharge it for us. They help us to work through anything that's kind of stagnant or stuck. So this one, when we come to like our wakeful moments, it helps us to be like kind of cool, calm, reserved in the ways that we need to be. It correlates to the throat chakra, which totally makes sense because this is the energy that we're embracing when we do experience conflict with other people this month. It gets rid of our nerves. It like totally calms us out. It dissolves any sort of like blocked pathways in our life. It creates more harmony and balance for us. What else does it do? Helps us to balance our emotion. Just creates like a lot of order in your life. And creating order is an interesting way to think about this for me because I was like, okay, here's what I'm doing. I'm observing the way that other people treat me, the way that other people behave or act, and I'm just filing that orderly onto shelves, and I'm going, noted, and I'll do something with that later. I'll refer to that later when the time comes and I need to. Brilliant. And so I guess that might make you sound a little bit conniving, but it isn't. It's just really, it's a very intellectually responsible way to handle emotions. Like you're not being impulsive, which as a fire sign is sometimes a challenge to not be impulsive. Okay. Gosh, I love you. You're the best. Your lucky day of the month is the 11th, which doesn't surprise me because you have all this energy here with the star card, which I actually call the hope card because everything we hope for. Plus our sapphire energy is a 3 plus an 8 is 11. Plus, your lucky day is the 11th. So I would be thinking about all these things that I want, all these things that I wish or hope for, because it seems to me that this is the month where things start kind of rolling in your favor. Like I said, unexpected things like you didn't even know were possible are easily going to flow to you if you're really embracing the right energies this month. So your crystal of the month is hematite. And this is actually, when people ask me what my favorite stone is, most often, because I guess it kind of does change from time to time, but most of the time, this is what I say. I love hematite. I love the way it feels. It's like really heavy, and I just love everything it does. This is like, it's my favorite. Anyway, so hematite is used for grounding. Okay, it's also used for safety. I never drive in a vehicle without one. So even if I get into somebody else's car, if I get into an Uber or a Lyft, I have one in my wallet, I have one in my pocket, I probably have one in my bra. I always have a hematite. It makes you feel really courageous. It'll take any energy that you have that is heavy and it just like thunks that right into the ground. The awesome thing about this from like a physiological standpoint is it increases your ability to like, so I'm anemic, right? And so it increases your red blood cells or like at least the heme components there, the hemoglobin, so that you can hold oxygen. So you feel more awake, you feel more alive when you have a hematite on you, that kind of thing. Gets rid of, it makes it, what did I say? Did I say we're more brave and courageous? It increases our physical strength, our emotional strength, protects us, increases our optimism, which is good. So these crystals are like really magnetic. So you might, if you buy them in like a bead form, they stick together. And so why is that important? Because it's actually making you a magnet. People don't think about this when it comes to abundance, but it makes you like a magnet for the right things. But then, conversely, when things are wrong for you, you'll be able to repel them. Like when you put two ends of magnets together that don't go together, they go whoop and they repel each other, right? So like things that are right for you, you can suck them in. Things that are wrong for you, you can push them away with hematite. So why am I holding so many of these? I know it's bonkers. Because personally, these little baby guys are my favorite because I can throw them anywhere. I put them on top of like door frames in front of windows. I sprinkle them all over the car. I bury them in my yard because they're tiny and they're easy, and I can put one in my wallet, and I can put one in my ear. Like, you can put them anywhere. I wouldn't put it in your ear though. That's not good advice. And then it also can look like this sometimes. This is just a bigger version. It's kind of like a dark gray, like a shiny. And then when it comes in raw form and it's not tumbled, this is what it looks like. Okay? It kind of looks like a meteorite or something. It's all lumpy and stuff. But it's just kind of naturally shiny on its own. So anyway, I just wanted you to see the different forms it comes in case you go to a crystal store or something locally to pick one up, then you know what you're looking for. If you don't have something like that near you, you can order one from my website, and it comes with like a video playlist on different ways you can use crystals and things like that, as well as more details on the things that it does, which angels associate to it, how to care for your crystal, when to use it, when not to use it. Like, for example, a lot of people don't know, if you have like an area of your body right now that's inflamed, that you have like inflammation going on, maybe you're like having like an arthritis episode, don't use it because it's going to make it worse. Stuff like that. Okay, back to the reading. So, what kind of energies do you need to bring into your life to help happiness thrive? And they go, that energy of assessing, is this worth it or not? I know what the challenges are. And I'm kind of thinking, come the new moon, I might want to start planning for that, or, going down that path. But is it what I really want? Is it worth it? And then actually talking this through with somebody. And so you're going to be talking this through electronically, not face to face. So this is like sending emails or asking questions on a forum or researching or texting your best friend or talking on the phone or by FaceTime. But this is not a face-to-face conversation. And so kind of talking through the pros and cons with somebody else. How can we sustain this happiness and joyful energy once we get some? Like, how do we keep it around? And they go, well, okay, so this is funny because I'm in like an argument right now with spirit guides of the Sagittarian clan, because I'm like, oh, you're so annoying when you talk like that. And they're like, oh, you're so annoying when you ask these stupid questions. Basically, they're like, you cannot forever sustain happiness generally. Like, we can raise our baseline of happiness, in which we kind of up and down from there. Sometimes our baseline is down here, sometimes it's up here. We can elevate our baseline, but they're like, you can't just like stay joyful forever. Who are you kidding? I'm like, rude. But anyway, they're saying that for a lot of you, a good way to do that is to be open to change. That once you kind of are really feeling and embracing this happiness energy, we might not want to change what we're doing at all. Because we think if we don't change things, then things stay the same. And so, we're likely to not run into problems. But then we run into the problem of boredom. And so they say be open to new opportunities because they're exciting and they're worth it. I love that. So March overall in a nutshell for you is they're like, we're going to be wondering, is this fair? Is that fair? I don't really know. And for those of us who have bad karma, like not from past lives, from this current life, if you fucked up and you did something shitty to somebody else, guess what? You're about to pay for it. If you have been like a super loving and caring individual, guess what? You're about to be rewarded big. So I'm not saying that to scare those of you who fucked up, but I am saying that to remind those of you who are doing the best that they can that good things are coming. And so they're saying like, this is not probably going to happen in your love life or relationships because there are certain lessons and things that we needed to learn there. And actually some of the things that we're doing or the way that we're thinking about things in our relationships or like in our historical relationships, because we're in a Mercury retrograde, are not healthy for us at all. Like a lot of the pain that we might feel or the apathy that we might feel that creates pain for us is our own fucking fault. Like, because we're deciding to continue to think about things in a certain way and not changing the way that we think about things, or to focus on, different things that we want to focus on that aren't necessarily the right thing for us to focus on in these types of relationships. And so it's saying that, we don't actually want you to do anything about this right now. We just want you to like kind of grasp like a fuller awareness of like what those patterns are, what your thought processes are that are not healthy in regards to dealing with other people, or like when you see injustice or like oppression, like when you see something that's wrong, like how do you deal with that? Or like if you're tempted to do something wrong, like how do you talk yourself down from that, or are you impulsive in that regard? And they're like, so we want to think about like any sort of unhappiness that you do experience, because for the most of you, this is going to be a more joyful and fun kind of month than for everybody else in the zodiac with this Mercury retrograde energy. But they're saying like in those moments, like even though our baseline might be higher, in those moments when our happiness threshold kind of dips a little bit, we want you to think about specifically what isn't making you sad. So the thing is like oftentimes what we think is making us angry or sad isn't what's making us angry or sad, right? I might get angry that somebody, I don't know what. But like, basically my point is anytime that somebody makes you angry, you're not actually angry, you're sad. You're disappointed. Anger is a reaction to feeling sad, and feeling sad is uncomfortable. So then you're sad that you're sad. So then you lash out in anger in order to try to control it. So most of the time, a lot of things are like, oh, I'm sad that I can't control things. I'm sad that things don't go the way that I hope that they do all of the time. Things like that. So kind of like breaking down each thought and each feeling to what it actually is. Okay? I love you so much, and I'll see you in April.